All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth to rule well. It's the brother Izar out here in Odessa Texas. All right, and I'm going to be going into Revelations 13. All right, last week I went into Revelations 13, and I'm just gonna briefly go over what I went over last week. So this is Revelations 13, 1 and 2. It's like it. Revelations 13, verse 1. It says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." All right, so this part right here, the sea, like you could read in Revelation 17 and 15, the sea, the waters, it's talking about nations, all right, kindreds, people, tongues, all right. So I stood in the sand of the sea, he stood in the midst of the people, and in the midst of the people it says, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, all right. He saw a beast rise up out of the multitude of nations, all right. So that beast that Revelation 13 is talking about is NATO and the EU, all right? Because NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, all right? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Salakia, give me a second. Alright, it says the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also called North Atlantic Alliance, is an intergovernmental military alliance between 29 North American and European countries. The organization implements the North Atlantic Treaty that was signed on the 4th of April 1949. Alright. So that's NATO, all right, and then the EU used to be called the EEC, all right, which is the European Eastern Community, all right, later known as the EU, which is the European nations, or the UN's lucky. All right, Salakia. But the EU was the European Union, So NATO and the EU are, all part of the same, And you have America, which is a whore that sitteth upon the beast, And that whore that sits upon the beast is going to be hated by these other nations, Because America likes to push itself to be, some type of, godly influence. They call themselves a Christian society, So that's what Paul saw. That's that beast that came out of the sea, all right? That beast representing a union of all these other nations, which is the sea, all right? So verse 2, it says, rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his 10 horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. All right, so you have the 7 heads. The 7 heads represents, all right, starting from the Greek. All right, you have Alexander the Greek, which led the Greek, which was a Edomite. All right, so that was the beginning of the Edomite rulership with the Greek. Then you had the Roman, Germania Major, Germania Minor, all right? And then there was a space of 1,000 years, there was a space of 1,000 years where this devil was put away, all right? And then after those 1,000-year period, he came back to the Renaissance, which that word Renaissance means rebirth, all right? And then he came back as a Spanish, then he came back as the All right, so that's 5. The Spanish. He came back as the French. All right, the English, and then of the 7, all right, the 8th is of the 7, which would be America, Babylon the Great. All right, so this is the last rulership that we're currently in right now. All right, and then in 1957, you had the EEC Treaty of Rome. All right, which had 10 nations, which is Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, Ireland, England, and West Germany. All right. So in 1955, the Treaty of Rome was signed. You know, which that goes into the next verses. Salakia goes into the next verses. You know, trying to briefly just touch on this. It says, "And the beast which I saw was likened unto a leopard." Now that leopard represents the Greek. All right. More specifically, it represents Alexander, which led the Greek. You know, Alexander and his father, Philip of Macedon. All right, Philip II of Macedon. He would wear on his horse a leopard. You know, same thing with Alexander. Alexander would also wear a leopard print. All right, he would have this leopard, you know, put on his horse. You know, so that's who the leopard is, the Greek. It says, "And his feet were the feet of a bear." Now the end of Babylon the Great is in Gog and Magog. All right, that's who's gonna the end is gonna come by. Gog and Magog represents Russia. All right, so the feet represents the end of something. You see, so the feet of Babylon the Great, or Salakia, the feet of Babylon the Great would be Russia, which is the end. All right, it says, "In his mouth as the mouth of a lion," and that lion represents England. It says, "And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." All right, now that dragon represents the Roman Empire. So that Roman Empire gave, you know, these other nations the powers, more specifically here in America. All right, because all this system is set up after the Roman system. You know, and I don't even think I touched on it last time, so I'll touch on it this time when I get to it. You know, but it says, verse 3, "And I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." All right, so that's the EEC treaty in 1957 of the Treaty of Rome. You know, when everybody is wondering after this Roman Empire. Slakia. It says, "And they worshiped the dragon," which is the Roman, "which gave power unto the beast," which the beast is EU and the NATO and NATO and the EU. It says, "And they worshiped the dragon," which is the Rome, "which gave power unto the beast," which is NATO and the EU. "And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him?" All right. So NATO and the EU are very powerful. All right. But then you have this great whore, Babylon the Great. All right, which is working around EU. All right, he's working around the EU. He's doing things, and when they go to the EU, they establish themselves as if they were the kings of the NATO and the EU. You know, they establish themselves as kings. You know, it says, "There was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwelt in heaven." You know, so now these Edomite nations are blaspheming the name of the Most High. All right, they're blaspheming his tabernacle. They're blaspheming by saying that his people are not the real, his people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are not the real people of the Lord. You know, They're saying that they are not the children of the Lord. But like Scripture says therein, where they said that you are not the children of the Most High, therein will it be said, ye are the children of the living power. You know? It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All right, let me go over here to Genesis chapter 27. If I'm not mistaken, might be 37. It's 27. This is Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of this blessing, wherein his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right. So it's prophecy that was going to come to pass, that Esau was going to have dominion over Jacob. All right. Now that's exactly what we read in Revelation 13, when it says it was given power to him to make war with the saints. All right. So let me read that part again. In Revelations 13 and verse 7, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. You see? So let's go to 2nd Esdras. Second Esdras chapter 6, and I'm gonna go straight to the point. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see? So it was going to be given unto Esau to have dominion over the world. All right? And after he had dominion over the world, he was going to deceive all nations. All right? And he was going to make war with the Israelites. All right? Which are your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see? Why else does this man have such a great hatred toward you? You know? So let me go over here to the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 10, and I'm also going to get the book of Psalms. All right, Psalms 55, I believe it was. Psalms 50, 60, 70. Let's go back over here. This is Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. You see? So his covenant, Salakia, his covenant was supposed to be broken so that he would have rulership over the world. You know? So when his covenant was broken, he has put... Salakia, let me see if I can get this real quick. It's 100. It's going to be right here. All right, so he has put his hands against those that have been at peace with him. You know, so Israel wasn't like, hey, yo, Edomites dwell over there. Let's go over there and start some war with them. It's never been like that, man. You know, you don't read that in the scriptures. But what you do read is that Esau, Edom, would kick down Jacob, Israel, whenever they were already on the ground. All right, they would join forces with these other nations to come up against us. You know, And that's what the Edomites have always done, you know. And it says that let me read that again, Salakia. Psalms 55 and 20, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. All right. So you had the Native Americans, which is Gad, all right, over here in the Americas, and they made covenants with Gad, all right. They made treaties, you know. They made treaties with Gad. And they said, all right, y'all can have this and this, but we can take this occasionally. And what happened? He completely wiped them out, all right? Almost to the point of extinction, you know? But Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had mercy. You see? But this man has always put his hands on those that have been at peace with him, man. So you cannot say that the Arabs are Esau Edom, because they're not, all right? Arabs are not Edomites. It's these self-proclaimed white Caucasian, all right, men, descendants through the father's lineage of Esau Edom. You see? Because it's always been about the father's lineage too. You know? That's why when the Most High was speaking, he was talking about kings and so like he was talking about kings of the nation, priests, prophets. He never said prophetess. He didn't say queens, female leaders. He wasn't saying any of that. You know? It says, verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's how a lot of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans fall for this Christianity, man. Christianity is not associated with the Bible. All right? That's just a religion. You know? That is just a religion, man. And our people are living deep in that religion, man. You know? Christianity is one hell of a drug to our people. They don't want to let it go. You know? They want to worship this white image that they have in their houses. They want to worship wood and stone. They want to worship everything except for this truth, man. They don't want to worship the truth. They don't want to worship Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They don't want to seek after wisdom. You know? And that's why they all got to go. That's why they got to be destroyed. But it says, verse 22, cast thy Salakia in his heart, his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. You see? So the righteous men are not going to be moved from this faith. The righteous men are going to keep on increasing in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You know? Because that's what the Most High has brought forth. Every time there was a great kingdom set up, the Most High and Yahushai, through Yahushai and through his prophets, has always brought down those kingdoms. You see? During the Roman Empire, why do you think the apostles were persecuted? The apostles were not persecuted for preaching love, man. They were persecuted for preaching truth, preaching repentance to the Israelites, which are the Gentiles, in a Gentile state of mind. Just like my people nowadays, so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. They're in that state of mind. Oh, God loves everybody. When it's not true, man. You know? But it says, but thou, O Lord, O power, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. And that's what we're supposed to do, man. We're supposed to trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that he's going to take care of his elect. And Lord willing, we are part of those numbers. You know, Lord willing, we are the elect. The hopeful elect. You know? So this is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Taman, shall be dismayed, to the end of every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You see, this has not happened, man, because you still have Edomites today. All right, this has not happened. You know? And then you have, you know, self-proclaimed scholars that call themselves to be scholars and men of the Lord, all right, saying that Esau Edom is not the white man, all right, saying he's not the white man because, you know, in the time of the Maccabees, he was done away with, all right, Esau Edom was completely cut off. But like we read in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, it tells you that when Esau Edom is cut off, the kingdom of heaven is going to be here. Now, I don't see any golden streets. In fact, I see the opposite, man. I see a bunch of concrete with a bunch of shit from the pigeons. You know? I see a bunch of wasps hanging around here in the streets, man. That can't be the kingdom of heaven. You know? Because the kingdom of heaven is not to be compared to, man. That's what the kingdom is like, you know? It is not to be compared to anything. Goes to show what world we live in, man. We live in a carnal kingdom. All right? We live in a very, very carnal kingdom. All right? The ancient Aztecs, the ancient Mayans, all right? They were more spiritual. You know? They believed that there was a kingdom made out of pure gold. You see? That's what they believed in. They believed in a fountain that would give you youth for the rest of your life. That's what they believed in. But Esau Edom wanted that physically. And he couldn't get it. He couldn't get it. Why not? Because that golden city is talking about the kingdom of heaven. All right? And the immortality that's going to come is through this word, man. All right? That's the baptism. That's the water that we need to be taking, man. The scriptures. That's what's baptizing our people. That's what's waking up our people, man. It ain't no literal fucking fountain springing up from the earth, man. You know? The kingdom of heaven is not hidden out there. It's out here in the streets, man. You know? Proclaiming out to people what the truth is, man. The apostles, the elders, the brothers. They've all been given a little bit of that power to preach out and give it to the people. But the people don't want to listen, man. And that's why your destruction's gonna come. You can't say anything against what we did, all right? Because the truth was out there, man. You know? So it says, verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob against thy brother Jacob shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. All right, and that hasn't happened yet. You know? Because like I read again in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And back in Genesis 27, all right, when Isaac prophesied unto Esau, and he told him, you are going to have the dominion over the earth. All right? And when you have dominion, you're going to take that yoke from off thy neck. All right? That means he wasn't going to be under us anymore. You know? He wasn't going to be under the Israelites. And when you do that, you're going to have the fatness of the earth, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Who else has lived by their sword, man? By their weapons. You know? And then you have this damn devil, Christopher Columbus, all right, Cristobal Colon, you know? He said that he would never, he even went to sleep with his sword on, man. He never rested from having his sword at his side. When they came over here to conquer, when you go out to a country, all right, when you go out to a different country to conquer them, you don't go out there with a Bible, all right? These other nations, they don't go out there with a Bible. Hey, brother, look, right here it says I have dominion over the earth. So according to the Bible, you're supposed to bow down to me. No, hell no. That is not what they do. They go out there and they stick to their weapons and they live by their weapons and they're gonna die by their weapons. You know? There's no way around it. That's what scripture says and that's what it is, man. You know? I don't see the Arabs coming over here and conquering the United States, which is the ultimate superpower, which is still the only superpower that has ever used any nuclear weapons on the world. United States of America remains the only country in the world that has used nuclear weapons. No other country has used it on another country except for America. Babylon the Great, the United States. All right? Up to this day, remains the only one. You know? Verse 11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. You see? So you go back to the beginning, man. You go back to the beginning. You go back to the book of Judges and you read the book of Judges. All right, go into Wikipedia and search up book of Judges. All right, all the judges and all the timelines and all the captivities, and just check out how many times Esau Edom had joined forces with every other nation just to kick Israel while they were down. You know? We were in Edomite captivity a couple times in the past too, man. You know? Not as big as it is now. All right? But Esau Edom has taken part when you had the Canaanites, all right? You had the Hamites take over and you had Esau Edom help them. You know? You had the Ammonites, the Moabites, they would take over, and then you had Esau Edom join forces. You know? That's where that saying comes in, a friend or an enemy of my foe is my friend, you know? Or an enemy of my enemy, I should say. An enemy of my enemy is a friend. And that's how Esau Edom saw it, you know? But that's why we come out to the highways and the byways to preach to our people. That's why we record what we record, so that whoever may hear it can hear it. Whoever forbears, and they forbear it, man. You know? So let me get this. 2 Maccabees, chapter 9, or chapter 8. 2 Maccabees, chapter 8, and verse 36. Thus, he took upon him to make good to the Romans their tribute by means of captives in Jerusalem, told abroad that the Jews had the Most High to fight for them because they followed the laws that he gave them. You see? So that's why Esau Edom knowingly, all right, because some of this stuff is recorded, has been recorded in the Roman, the Romans recorded it, the Edomite nations have recorded it, all right? And it's been recorded right here in the Bible too. That when Israel follows the laws, statutes, and commandments, all right? When Israel follows the laws, statutes, and commandments, and they bow down to Yahweh, the name of the Most High, and Yahushai, the name of the Son, all right? He fights for them. You see that? The Most High fights for Israel when they are for the Most High. But when they're not, guess what? He doesn't fight for them. You know? And that's why you have these religions All right, these Christians teaching the law is done away with. All right, the law is done away with. Because if everybody believed that the law was done away with, then nobody would be doing the law, right? Everybody would have a clean face, shaving. Everybody would be eating bacon, pork, you know, abominable foods. All right? Everybody would be doing it. And the Most High would close his ears completely from this world, man. All right, but because he chose to open the ears of a certain few, and Lord willing, he keeps that on me, you know? But because he chose what he chose, that's why people are waking up, and that's why things are happening around the world, man. That's why you have mass shootings happening at great scales. That's why you have UFO sightings at even greater scales. Because the Most High is making himself known. All right? So going back to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 12, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. How did they become strangers? By becoming Gentiles. All right? We became Gentiles. That's why scripture says, though ye were once Gentiles, ye were once Gentiles. All right? Because we weren't going after the way of the Most High. We were going after the way of the heathen. All right? But Jeremiah 10 tells you don't go after the way of the heathen. You see? Because then you're going to become a heathen. It says, neither shouldest thou rejoice over the children of Judah in the day that of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. And now you have these damn devils that are speaking so proudly about slavery. You know? But then when you confront them, oh, that was a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago. All right? Even up to today, we're still seeing discrimination happen to the so-called Negroes, to the so-called Latinos, all right, to the so-called Native Americans. You know? It wasn't that long ago. Because that shit still exists today, man. It says, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not look on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway, or cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. You see, so the Most High is telling you this, man. The Most High is telling you, Esau, Edom, all right, and you 2/3. He's telling you this, man. You guys should not have rejoiced at all. And you 2/3 shouldn't have rejoiced, all right, in the wickedness that Esau, Edom has brought into this world. You know? But that's all my people do. They just rejoice over stupid shit, man. It says, verse 15, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. You see that? All the heathen. Even the Israelites. The Israelites are counted as heathen when they're not following what they're supposed to follow. All right? So when the Most High comes back, he's not going to come back with rainbows and fucking, you know, flowers and all beautiful stuff. The Most High is coming back for payback. That's what he's coming back for, man. He's coming back to exalt his people that he has chosen. He's coming back to exalt his name above all things. You see? Because that's the good pleasure of the Most High, man. And if he has said it, who can disannul? Nobody. All right? Nobody can withstand his hand. You see? So right now he's talking to the heathen, man. Let me read that again. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. All right? So let me go back to Revelation 13 and verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given unto him, all right, over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. All right? So if you're not written in the book of life, you're a heathen. All right? And that's what the Most High is looking at you as. A fucking heathen, man. A Gentile. All right? So it says, verse 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So Obadiah chapter 1, all right, that whole book of Obadiah is basically, you know, in other forms, Revelations 13. You see? Obadiah chapter 1 is the same thing as Revelations 13, man. It goes into the same thing. Esau Edom having power, taking over his brother, putting him down, putting him into captivity, going into captivity, and eventually being destroyed, and the kingdom given into Jacob. All right? So back in Obadiah 1 and verse 16, for as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. All right? So Jacob, in the end times, all right, at the very end, Yahushua is going to take Jacob, all right, the elect of Jacob, the Israelites, and he's going to put them in Israel. All right, where they belong, and they're going to have dominion over the whole world. You see, that's what's given to Israel. That's the promise that was given to Israel, not to any other nation. Like I read in 2 Maccabees chapter 8, you know, in 2 Maccabees 8, it told you how the Romans, all right, they knew, and they wrote to everybody that the Israelites, the Jews, all right, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi at that time, all right, that the Jews followed the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High that he gave him, that he gave them, all right? So he only gave them to Israel. It says, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken. And that's that 1,000-year period that we're going to rule with Yahushua. All right, we're going to rule with Yahushua for 1,000 years, while Esau Edom is in slavery. And then after that 1,000-year period, we're going to completely cut off the seed line of Esau Edom. Lord willing, I'm part of that number. And he's going to be destroyed forever. All right? That's the two. Those are different. Those are different 1,000-year periods. All right? One was during the Renaissance. All right? One ended in the Renaissance, which is the uplifting of Esau Edom. And the other 1,000-year period, all right, is going to be when we rule with Yahushua for 1,000 years. All right? And then we're going to completely cut off Esau Edom. You know? But you have Nate the Snake that confuses the two. All right? And he starts, you know, saying nothing about Esau Edom, nothing about that rulership, but just wants it all love and peace, just like a Christian, man. Just like a damn Christian. You know? So verse 18, it says, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. All right? Verse 19, and they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead, and the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess of the Canaanite even unto the Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharth, shall possess the city of the south, and saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai's. All right, so that's the end of the book of Obadiah. The book of Obadiah is talking about the Israelites being in rulership under Yahweh and under Yahweh Shai. All right, so back in Revelations 13 and verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, having two horns like a lamb and speaking as a dragon, is talking about like America has the Republican and the Democrats. All right, those are all part of the same body, but they make you think that they're not. They speak docile. They're like a lamb, humble, meek. Oh, we're trying to help the poverty of the so-called Negroes. And then you have the other side that is looked at as a bad side by the poverty, saying, well, we're trying to help the rich people because the rich people are the ones that are making this country great. All right, so you have these people fighting back and forth. You see? Fighting back and forth for the same damn thing, which is what? Rulership. Either you're a Democrat or a Republican. At the end of the day, you're still part of the same anti-Messianic body trying to keep the Israelites in check. You know? Trying to keep them dumbed down. Trying to stay in rulership. You know? It's always been them too. Same thing with the Romans. The Romans had the patricians and damn it, what are they called? Plebeian. The plebeians and the patricians. That was in Rome. The plebeians and patricians. Oh, choose one of the two. But they were still corrupt. And then here in America, you have the Democrats and Republicans. Choose one of the two, and they're still corrupt. All right? So that's the lamb that speaks like a dragon. You know? The lamb that speaks like a dragon. So it's a lamb, docile, meek, humble, with two horns, Democrats and Republicans. And they speak as a dragon. Now who's the dragon? All right? I already made mention that the dragon is Rome. So it's like Rome again. You know? It speaks humble. Hey, we're a Christian community. All right? We're a Christian country. We love God. When in reality, all right, when in reality they speak just like the Romans. Democrats, Republicans, patricians, plebeians, all fighting for the same anti-Messianic cause, man. To keep the Israelites dumbed down, like I read in 2 Maccabees. You know? So it says, verse 12, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, all right, which is who? The Roman Empire, all right? It says, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. All right. So whose deadly wound was healed? Well, we read it in the first few 5 verses of Revelations 13 that the deadly wound that was healed. All right. And that deadly wound that was healed was in 1957. The EEC, the European Economic Community, all right, signed the Roman treaty, you know. It says, and he receiveth them and dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right. Let me get this real quick. Let me get this, because this one's important too. So let me go back up, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right. Now again, who was the first superpower in the world, or who was the only country remaining unto this day to use nuclear weapons? That's fire coming down from the heavens. All right. Let me see. Who is the only country that has ever used nuclear power? It says, let me see. Let me see, it won't come up. How many nations have used nuclear bombs? Who has used a nuclear bomb? It says, during the final stages of World War II, in 1945, the United States conducted atomic raids on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The first on August 6, 1945, on the second on August 9, 1945. These two events were the only times nuclear weapons have been used in combat. You see that? The only times nuclear weapons have been used in combat belong to who? Babylon the Great, America, the United States of America. All right? So he doeth great miracles. That was a miracle. That was something that, you know, that surprised, that shocked the world. You know, left people in awe. That's what made them give up, you know. And now the United States takes full, they take full responsibility for ending World War II, when in reality it wasn't, you know. But these Edomite nations, they were over there trying to fight with each other, man. You know, Egyptian shall fight against Egyptian. And we are in Egypt right now. Spiritually known as Sodom in Egypt. You know? So it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right? So that's what the nuclear power does, man. All right? He has people seeing those miracles by way of seeing those nuclear bombs, man. You know? That's a miracle to split an atom. You know? That was given to him by the Most High. Because that's his blessing. It says, verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live. All right, and that image comes through NATO and the EU. All right, their philosophies, their ways of life. You know, that's an image, a picture. All right. If you have an iPhone, you go to your pictures, it says photos or images. Pictures, you know? So that's how you see. And people see America as a beautiful place to go. You know? Power, saying to them, beasts, which is the Roman system. All right, so verse 14 is the Roman system. It says, verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, if you have a system, all right, a government to speak, all right, a government to have some type of power to speak means to have laws. All right. Now the dragon in Greek means dracon. All right. Let me go over here. Go to dragon, Revelations 13. All right, in Revelations 13 and 11, that word dragon, it beheld another beast coming out of the earth. Strong's G, what is that, 1404? Dracon, all right? Dracon. The word draconian means of laws or their application excessively harsh and severe. All right, so he's gonna speak as a dragon because he speaks as with his draconian laws. All right, so he speaks as a dragon. Let's get that one. All right, so Revelations 13 and 11, and it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. That word there is dracon, all right, which goes into draconian, which means harsh laws. That's how America speaks. All right, that's how these countries speak, through their laws. You see? So going over here into Revelations 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So if you're not going to listen to this damn devil, all right, if you want to do your own thing, then guess what? You're going to end up getting killed, man. You know? You're going to end up getting killed. And that's what's going to happen to the prophet. Because eventually he will make the RFID chip become mandatory, all right? And if you don't take that RFID chip, he's either going to kill you, all right, or he's going to kill you. You see? And if you have the RFID chip and you try to get away from the RFID chip, all right, what they're going to do is disconnect your chip. And you're basically going to end up dying by hunger because you can't buy anything through your chip. You know, you're not counted as anything in society. So verse 15 says, it's like at verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. So he causeth all, you know, which is who? This Edomite empire. All right. That's who causes all. The Edomite empire, man. Ruled by these Edomite elites, you know. Thou shalt be the head, or he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right. And we're going to bruise his head. You know, the apostles talked about, you know, keep fighting for this truth, you know, until Yahushua comes back and bruises the head of the serpent under his heel. You know, who is that serpent? It's Esau Edom. You know, it's Esau Edom, that old dragon, old serpent. So that word for mark is chabragma, all right, chabragma, which means a stamp, an imprinted mark, all right. When you imprint, all right, you're pushing down with pressure, with great pressure, All right. So let's look up that word imprint. And it says impress, all right, with pressing down, or stamp on a surface or body. You see? So how are you gonna imprint philosophy into somebody's hand? You can't imprint philosophy on somebody's hand. What, are you gonna walk around with a little, cross on your hand? Look, see, I'm a Christian. You see? That doesn't make sense, man. It says a stamp. Let's look up that word stamp. Bring down. All right? To bring down with force. Heavily on the ground or on something on the ground. All right? So to bring down with force. You see? So your hand is going to be imprinted. Pressed down with great force. That's how you put that RFID chip inside of you. With great force. You can't pierce the skin with something simple, man. It has to be with great force. If you touch a skin, just gently, you're not gonna pierce the skin. You can't pierce the skin like that, man. There has to be some type of endurance. It says, on their right hand or in their foreheads. Now that word on their right hand is not necessarily talking about only on your right hand can you receive the mark of the beast, or only on your forehead. Don't be ignorant. All right, that's talking about alliance. Having your mindset on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is having his name written upon your forehead. Striking an alliance with Esau Edom with your right hand, all right, means that your thoughts and your mindset is going to be for Esau Edom. You see? So this is Revelations chapter 20. And let me see. Revelations chapter 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai and for the word of the Most High Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. All right? So when you receive the mark of the beast, that doesn't mean only your right hand. It's either in your toes, you can get it in your hand, you can get it in your palm, you can get it in the back of your neck. All right? But you don't receive that mark, man. Because like I read over here in Revelations 13 and 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right, so you can't buy. All right, so okay, let's say that you can buy with philosophy, which makes no sense. All right, let's say you can buy with philosophy. How are you going to sell your own goods with philosophy? Does that make sense? Let's say that I have 2 cases of water. Each case has 20 waters. A man comes up to me and says, I'm thirsty. Can you sell me that case of water? And I tell him, sure, $5, $5, 5 credits. That's what it costs. That's what I'll give it to you for. How the hell is he gonna come up to me and tell me, well, I believe in the Messiah? All right, there you go. You can take your case of water. Thank you. I'm gonna go to the store and buy it off of the same thing. That doesn't make sense, man. If you call yourself an Israelite, all right, and you do not believe that the mark of the beast is the RFID chip, then you have one thing coming, man. All right? Destruction. That's it. Point blank, period. You're not gonna see salvation. You're a damn heathen. You're not an Israelite. All right? Because a true Israelite would believe in what the scripture says. Continuing on, it says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right, now that last 6 is stigma. Stigma in the Greek. The word stigma means to pierce. Let's get it. Word 666 is chai shai stigma. All right, chai shai stigma.
Strong's G5516. Chai shai stigma.
All right.
Chai stigma.
Chai shai stigma, and that word stigma means a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. All right, marks the corresponding to those left on Yahweh's body by the crucifixion. So you could tell that it wasn't something gentle. All right, it wasn't something nice. It wasn't something smooth that just came into your ears and it stayed in there, man. All right, stigma goes back to what happened to Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, all right, which was to be pierced with force, all right, to be imprinted with great force, man. That's what happened to Yahweh Shai, all right. He was pierced. Now, in a similar matter, all right, Israelites and all people of the earth are going to be pierced with force, all right, to receive that RFID chip, you know? So that's it for Revelations 13. Now let me go to Revelations 14 just to prove the point of the RFID chip being the mark of the beast, all right? Revelations 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushai. All right. So to have faith, all right, to have faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all right, unto the end makes you one of the saints. Now, who are the saints though? Because people think that anybody could be a saint. All right. So this is the book of Exodus, and chapter 19 and verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And he's talking to Israel. So verse 6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. You see? Ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. It says, and in holy nation, these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. All right? So the Israelites are the only ones that can be the saints. The Israelites are the only ones that could be the kings. You see? It belongs only to Israel, no other nation. All right? No other nation. So those saints, all right, those saints that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has cared for are the ones that are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. You know, even in Jacob's trouble, we're still going to have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You know? That ain't going away, because in the kingdom of heaven, the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be written in our inward parts. I'll bring one more just to prove that point. All right. This is Jeremiah 31 and 31. All right. And it says, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah." Now, who's the house of Israel? Who's the house of Judah? Ezekiel 37 prophesies about the house of Israel, which is Ephraim and the 10 tribes. All right. And, well, not the 10 tribes. All right. But you have Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. All right. You have Zebulun and Simeon. All right. So it's not 10 tribes anymore. All right. It's actually 9 tribes of the northern kingdom, you know. And of the southern kingdom, you have Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You know, the southern kingdom is known as Judah. All right. The northern kingdom is known as Israel. You see? So when scriptures, you know, say the house of Israel and the house of Judah, it's really talking about all Israel. All right. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim on down. You know? So it says, with the house of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and the house of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. You see? So it's not according to the old covenant that we had. All right? Because we're not going to be saved by the law. But we are going to be saved by the faith that we have in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which helps us keep the law. Not to the perfection, but to the best of our ability. You see? Verse 33, "But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws in their inward parts, and write in their hearts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people." You see? So how can the Most High do away with the law, statutes, and commandments, and then in the kingdom of heaven, the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be written in our inward parts? All right? So the Lord did not do away with the laws, man. You know? That's why I read that in Revelations 14 and 12. "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushai." All right? So to keep the law, statutes, and commandments is still part of who we are. You know? So going to Exodus, I believe it was Exodus 21, I believe. Yep. Exodus 21. Let me go to Micah 4. Micah chapter 4. Micah or Malachi? Malachi, it's lucky. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 4. "Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel." All right? With the statutes and judgments. All right? So those things are still to be kept up to date. You know? So this is Exodus 21, just to prove what Esau Edom is doing is of no strangeness, you know? Because back then, if you wanted to claim somebody to be yours, what would you do? You would pierce their ear, all right? You would pierce their skin. So this is Exodus 21 and 5. "And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free." I believe it was, what was it, Luke or John 14? It was Luke 14:26. If any man come to me, all right, if any man come to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. All right? So Yahushua won't accept you if you're going to take the RFID chip just because you have to feed your family. It doesn't matter to him. All right? It's either you have faith in him that he's going to feed your family, all right, or you don't and you have damnation. See? So you have to have faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. Even when the RFID chip is presented, even when you can't get any food, you have to have faith. All right? Which IUIC, they don't have faith. You have Nate the Snake talking about Pray Millstone is stupid. All right? We're fools because we wouldn't take the RFID chip to feed our families. Now you can see what kind of carnal mindset they're on. All right? You can just see what kind of carnal mindset they're on, man. And that's not good. You know? That's going to get you destroyed. So if you hate not your father, your mother, all right, your brethren, your sisters, your children, yea, and your own life also, you cannot be a disciple of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You see? So going back to Exodus 21:5, if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Now, how do we go out free? Because right now we're in captivity, so we're not free. We go out free by serving Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right? That's what's going to make us free. Free from sin. Free from all these other nations. That's the only thing that can free us, man. You know? Now, Exodus 21 is actually talking about the Hebrews, the Israelites. Right? It's actually talking about the Israelites. That's what their customs were. You know? That's what their customs were back then. You know? But also it applies to the whole world. You know? The whole world uses that. When they have a cow, or when they have horses, or when they have pigs, or when they have stock, some type of stock, they always pierce them. All right, they pierce them so they can keep track of what belongs to them. It's lucky, you know. So that's a carnal thing to do, you know, fleshly thing to do to keep track and tabs on somebody that you want to keep tabs on. You mark them, all right. If you want to do a spiritual mark that the Most High is going to see, all right, that's what you do to people that cause division in this truth. All right, you put a spiritual mark on them and you separate yourself from them. You see? But that mark is not charagma. That mark does not mean charagma. That mark is something completely different, man. You know? So going to verse 6, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post. And his master, all right, which in this case would be Esau Edom, all right, he's our taskmaster, says, shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. All right, there's going to be no rest for you that serve Esau Edom. All right, you're going to have to serve him day and night because you belong to him, you know. So that word bore means ratazai, which means to bore or to pierce. All right, to bore or to pierce. In the engines, all right, when you go do a bore out through the engineers, all right, they bore out by making it wider, by piercing the engine, the current state of the engine, and making it whiter on the inside. You know? It says, through, bore his ear through with an awl. So you can have earrings, which just signifies ownership. All right? Somebody owns you. Whether that be Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, or a woman pierces her ears for her man, for her husband. All right? Because she's owned by her husband. You know? It says that word awl means a boring instrument. You know? So a boring instrument is what's going to be used. You know? Something that'll pierce you. You know? And that thing that's going to be inside you is that RFID chip. You know? That microchip. Because that microchip ultimately is going to allow you to buy. Ultimately is going to allow you to sell. Ultimately is going to allow you to have a life in society. You know? And if you don't have that RFID chip, then your chip is going to be either it's turned off or they're going to kill you. You know? Because of it. So those are two options, man. Those are two options that you have. You either take it or you don't. You either search for life eternal with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, or you seek your own damnation by taking that RFID chip. You know? So with that, Akim, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth to rule well. Shalom and stay strong out there. Don't take the RFID chip, man. And a ba. Death to America. Shalom.